Very specific.
One of my specialties is kind of like, it's basically Chipotle. Like a little
Burrito
Mexicali thing going on. Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
Some onions, jalapenos, salsa, cheese, rice, ground beef, or turkey. Yeah, things of that nature.
Nice. Do you have any good food this weekend specifically on the 4th of July?
I did not know. I went to No Lie, but that was the extent of my food intake.
I haven't had great luck with No Lice food in the past, but I haven't tried it in a couple of years. How was it?
I think, and this is just me personally, I like their food better than their beer. Hot take.
I've heard that actually a few different times.
No, but I was out at the lake, and I smelled hot dogs on the barbie,
Yeah.
and was really jealous. Was fiending for a hot dog, did not get a hot dog.
I bet. Well, here's my, as we get opening into the show here, here's what I made during the weekend. It started off on the smoker at 4 a.m. There it is, 4 a.m. 2 10-pound pieces of pork.
Ooh.
And approximately 14 hours turned into this,
Wow.
which Sam before the show was like, "Is this burnt? No, that's smoke. That's bark."
To be fair, I only saw it in the email.
All right, fair enough.
And then I pulled
have
it onto this, and I was like, okay, that actually looks.
So the reason I bring this up, it was really good, by the way. Huge hit.
It looks really
It was
good.
very good. Yeah.
I'll give it to you.
So I also just found out what the term docking means.
Ah,
Docking is a term that simply means poking holes in the dough so that it does not puff up during baking, like crackers and flatbreads, unbaked pie shells, so that steam is able to escape. Docking.
so does docking not have anything to do with boats? And the
Docking
dock?
has things to do with boats for sure.
Okay, so there are multiple applications.
There's
With different
another
meanings?
term, docking, when it kind of looks like this. It goes like this International Space Station goes into it docks.
Yes.
It's actually pretty interesting stuff. A lot of space shows recently, movies, have talked about docking. Anyway, we are here in the 50th episode of The Locker Room. 50th. We've made it 50 shows somehow.
Good-looking pork,
somehow
man.
we have made
that
it.
That was incredible.
You're welcome. 50 shows we have made it out of somehow.
Yeah.
So they keep wanting more, I guess, which is really interesting. But we are here to provide for that, and yeah, I'm pretty excited. We have a decent show, I think.
I think so.
Right now, not overall. Our show sucks, but no, that's all right. But episode number 50. I'm your host Justin Reed, alongside Andrew Tenney. And before we get to that awesome company that sponsors us, I want to hear your number 50s for me. Do you have any?
I was racking my brain, and I didn't want to, because for me, I like doing this off the top of my head.
I try to do that.
Yeah,
first,
exactly. And then when push comes to shove, and there's
internet.
nobody at the top of the head. Yeah.
Yep.
Really, it's got to just be KJ.
KJ's the only Seahawk.
Yeah.
And it's not even close. Everyone else is just straight garbage.
No, there's never been a
Which is weird.
50.
Like a 50, it seems like a very common number to have on a football field.
Right, you would think. That's all I got, which is underwhelming. But, I
Right.
mean, he's enough to carry the load.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. For the Mariners, I had Jamie Moyer.
Oh, that was a good one.
Right. So
a good one.
that's the one that I had. Then I looked it up. Vladimir Ballantyne, I think actually. Vladimir Ballantyne, mid 2000s, late 2000s actually. Adam Moore was a catcher. Erasmo Ramirez, one of the worst pitchers in Mariners and professional baseball history. Guy sucked. He had like a 5.6 ERA as a Mariner. And then currently Eric Swanson, who's been with the Mariners for 3 years, is actively number 50. All right.
Who's worse, that guy or Sheffield?
No,
Yeah.
it's Ramirez, not even close. Sheffield's had
Really?
some bumps. Sheffield at least has promise. Like, he has good stuff. Erasmo would just toss up softballs
Okay.
and put it out on a plate for the hitter just to go absolutely bonkers.
Sounds like a real considerate guy.
Yeah, he is very nice, but too bad he sucked. All right. Who sponsors us again? I just want to make sure everybody remembers.
What a segue. Lucky Bird, I know, we know, everybody knows, a Spokane-based e-commerce and digital marketing company dedicated to helping local companies scale in the online world of e-commerce and digital marketing. Visit luckybirdbrands.com to have a down-to-earth, no-pressure conversation about your digital marketing and e-commerce strategies today.
I love their website, like the honeycomb look.
Oh, yeah,
It's a very pleasing
It's a
look.
good yellow. Mhm.
So speaking of birds, a lot of bald eagles hang out around Pend Oreille, which is really cool to see.
So do the Kardashians.
The Coeur d'Alene.
I know.
Close.
Yeah.
Still in Idaho, I guess.
I just wanted to throw that
did
out
see
there.
that. Very interesting, actually, that they make their
Every
fertilizer
year,
up
all the news stations' Twitter
Go
accounts are
wild.
like, "Hey, Kardashian spotted in
there.
Coeur
I bet they
d'Alene." It's
love
like,
that.
Yeah, we know.
Actually, they probably, they're always the ones who say any publicity is good publicity, so they're probably
true.
thrilled. in any regard. So I almost saw a bald eagle like drop down to the water. He attempted multiple times. He or she attempted multiple times to drop in and like snare a fish. It didn't work. But I did see a video of a fish in a stream, or a bird in a stream come down, grab the lure thinking it was a fish, or grabbed a fish that had the lure in it and like flew off, like literally attached to this guy's rod.
Really?
Yeah, it was wild.
That, yeah, is certainly not domestic or tame.
No, that would not be good at all.
Whoa.
Usually it's just because they have such horny beaks. It provides them such great avenues to be able to snare those fish.
You know what? I'll give that to you. That was impressive. I was wondering how you were going to do that,
I
and
didn't
you
think
did
it was
it.
too bad.
That was pretty good.
Thank you.
That was smooth. I like it.
I've been working on it.
Hats off for a solid effort.
Perfect. There we go. Nice little segue into that. What's not a good segue is the fact that we're about to talk about NHL. It has nothing to do with birds or horny beaks.
No, not this year.
Because they have the Canadiens against the Lightning.
Yeah, nothing there. Nothing.
Nope, nothing there. But the Tampa Bay Lightning did go back-to-back Stanley Cup champions. I don't think that sentence still works, actually. But they did win the series 4-1 and looked comfortable doing it the entire series. I mean, they were going to win it from the get-go. The Canadiens were very much outmatched. Makes for another year where a Canadian team does not win the Stanley Cup final, which is fine by me.
I'm glad that they were able to get one on their home ice just for their fans. That's
that was cool.
Literally the only lick of solace that community could take in this series. And it is just kind of disappointing because I think the Knights would have made for a much more compelling series.
Sure.
But obviously, I mean, if you can't get past, your opponent in the Western Conference Finals, then you don't get the opportunity, to do that. And Tampa Bay, City of Champions.
Oh yeah, since
Tampa Bay, I mean, they didn't. The Rays didn't actually win the World Series, but they were there.
Yeah, and then obviously the Bucks won. Tampa's won twice. I mean, they've had a lot of success.
This rotates almost yearly. I mean, a couple of years ago it was Washington D.C. And yeah, Tampa Bay, man, place to be.
Well, this all started when Brady got to Tampa.
Yeah,
because he got there right before Tampa. The Rays went to. By the way,
but dating back to the Lightning's run last year in the 2020, whenever that bubble finished up, I can't even remember.
It was still after Brady, though.
Was it? Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I just wish that the Tampa Bay Rays were still called the Devil Rays. What a stupid argument, and that was the beginning of cancel culture, when you could be called the Devil Rays. What?
No. The beginning of it is when the Washington Bullets were forced to be changed to the Washington Wizards.
Fair enough.
That's actually when it started. And that one, I think, is more egregious than the change from Devil Rays to Rays. Because I actually do think that the Rays, I like their branding better. I like their color scheme and everything better than what they had. Oh, they did have the sick cutoffs, though, right?
Yeah.
When they were the Devil Rays, like
right
pinstripe cutoffs. They were green.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, everybody cannot see what we're looking at, but it's good stuff.
Cool. Well, I don't understand. Like they wanted to be more positive, not talk about the Devils, even though it was a Devil Ray, but it's fine. I mean, it's a manta ray, but like I don't know, it's just lame. You're right. The branding is much easier when you just have rays. You don't have to be like Devil Rays on your hat, whatever. Still stupid, still lame. But yeah, for anyway though, the Tampa Bay, Tyler Johnson, Spokane. Not quite native, but he grew up here. Playing here for the Chiefs, has now won 2 titles. That's pretty cool. That's something to look at, even though he's severely undersized, but he continues to produce and continues to...
Also, he's been in the league for a long time. How old is that dude?
He has to be in his almost 30 now, because he was a couple years older than me. He is 30. Yep, he just turned 30 last year, actually. So he's turning 31 this year. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, the series, I actually missed it. Did you watch any of the game last night?
No, I got updates. That's it.
Right. We our softball team right here. I'll give a little shout out to Spokane Brewing Company. Check them out this fall. Anyway, we won. We beat Meat Salad was the team. Yeah, good old meat salad, which I guess is a Hawaiian dish.
Wasn't that a Wiggles song? No, I'm thinking of fruit salad.
Fruit salad. There you go. Yeah, that definitely makes more sense. We won 34-10 and then 24-4.
How many? Whoa. Yeah. Are they typically that high
not
scoring?
Not quite like that. We actually struggled in the spring, but we kind of have come out with a vengeance so far.
Sheesh.
We're averaging like 23 runs a game over our first 4 games.
How many ribbies are you averaging?
I don't know, give or take 23.
All right.
No, actually, our best 2 players, Jordan McGowan and Matt Nelson, are definitely our best players. They played baseball at SFCC and was McGowan, and then Whitworth was McGowan and Matt.
Okay.
But they're really good. McGowan had a grand slam. Matt had a 3-run bomb.
Wow, props to those guys.
Not too, and they make it look super easy. But it's pretty fun, I guess. So, the other NHL news that we're gonna just bring up here real quick is that the Columbus Blue Jackets backup goalie, no idea how to pronounce his name, Matisse Kivlenieks.
That looks good. That
It's
sounds
not bad,
good.
right?
Yeah.
24 years old, died in a fireworks accident over the weekend. Took a mortar to the chest. Not a recipe for success. Also, I don't understand. You got to be smarter with fireworks. They're literally explosive. They're bombs. What are you doing?
I don't know. To be honest, when I first saw it, I didn't actually read the article, so I didn't know why or how it was that he died. I figured it was like a cliff jumping thing.
Like a lot of people.
Yeah, no. People die a lot in the summer.
They do die a lot.
Yeah, and people are dying from the heat and everything
I don't
Man,
understand.
Summer's coming up.
So he was in a hot tub when the mortars tilted toward them. He jumped out and tried to run away. My common sense would say stay in the hot tub.
Like get under the water, maybe?
Yeah.
Or,
right? I mean,
I
don't know. If you were being shot at, imagine it being like a gun. Would you jump out of the hot tub or hide?
You got the situation and the surroundings would play a huge
All right,
part
fine.
in
It's
that
not a
decision
gunshot.
making.
It's a mortar, one mortar firework.
Yeah, I'd probably just duck into the hot tub. Also, and I don't mean this to be insensitive because it's awful and tragic that he died.
Give it to me. Let the world know.
It's just such a stupid way to die. Like
Death by firework.
Totally unnecessary, totally avoidable. It's just a shame.
It's not the way you want to go.
It's sad. It's really sad.
It's the JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul incident, but with death.
Yeah.
Now, if this guy wouldn't have died and he would have had, would have went to the hospital and recovered, he would forever be remembered as the guy who took a mortar to the chest. Now he's the guy who took the mortar to the chest and died, so it's a little less. You can't really make fun of the guy as much as you would like to. Right?
Yeah.
I
got nothing more to say. No. I mean,
I think that's true. Jason Pierre-Paul instantly became a massive joke when he blew off his hand, essentially.
Yes, he did.
This guy would have had a massive indent in his chest. I don't know what happens.
Tom Brady's what down is it? And Jason Pierre-Paul's 2.5.
Oh, it's awesome times when you're Jason Pierre-Paul. So yeah, that is tragic, but it does happen. Speaking of Brady, thank you for tying this in for me. That made that much easier. The Capital won the match, which was on TNT, between Bryson DeChambeau, Aaron Rodgers, against Phil Mickelson and Tom Brady. Did you watch any of that?
I saw a little bit of it while I was at work. I don't remember when this actually was organized and when it was scheduled, but I have to ask some questions as to why they did it when they did it, considering the rest of the sporting
horrible time to do it
events that were going on in that day. And this one was not the Peyton Manning and Tom Brady one, the first one back, during the height of the pandemic when there were truly no sports going on.
Yep.
That one worked for a number of reasons, and those reasons don't exactly exist, and they're not relevant right now in the time that we are in July of 2021. And this one, from what I saw and from what I heard people talk about, was awkward. And Phil was basically just doing his best to carry the whole thing through. All these guys are just doing little jabs at each other.
Right.
Bryson came, loaded with a couple jokes and zingers that he wanted to throw at Charles Barkley about the Spurs and things like that. And you can tell that Bryson just doesn't know how to interact or socialize normally with people. He doesn't know how to take a joke. And you can literally see the cogs in his brain trying to turn and move and figure out, how do I respond to this? And it's just, and Aaron Rodgers looks like shit.
He looks terrible.
He's seen better days. His brother is obviously the prettier of the two, but if he leans into a look, he leans into it, and it is rough. So, yeah, overall, not a fan of the match.
I think Shailene Woodley is giving him poor advice on his hair, facial hair, and general makeup.
I just don't think he cares.
Oh, he
I
doesn't
think that's
care.
he
doesn't
just
care
he's
at
over
all.
it. Yeah.
He's with his new fiance.
Yeah.
He's not married, right?
No, they're engaged.
But they are engaged. So he's with his new fiance. He's
Hanging
letting
out with
himself
Miles
go.
Teller, going
Hanging
and
out with his
chasing
buddy
waterfalls.
Miles. Yeah, chasing some waterfalls.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like TLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was a pretty bad match overall until
The course looked
end.
insane, though.
Oh, the course was beautiful. Oh, it was so pretty. Up there in Big Fork. So that was pretty cool, like a nice aspect of it. But yeah, Brady just is not a great golfer. And it was actually super interesting to watch a guy who's so great at the thing we see him at consistently do, which is football, watching him severely struggle on a golf course.
He did hit one bomb off the tee, though. That was incredible.
Well,
it was making the rounds on Twitter, and I was just like, hey, that's good.
That's
but yes, the rest of the game.
Right, the rest of it was not so impressive. They had this weird, like, staged, hey, my name's Tom, or they didn't say this, but like Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers were playing catch.
Yeah, and they were like 10 feet away from each other?
Yeah, they weren't. Yeah, it wasn't. I mean,
it was weird.
Well, what was weird then they gave a shot of the tee box where Phil or Bryson was about to hit, and you could see down in the corner, right as they switched camera views, they were done playing catch. All the cameras left, and they went and sat in their golf course.
Yeah, no, it was
like nice production. CBS or TBS, TNT, they're all the same.
No.
They're all the same. They're all owned by Turner Sports.
Fair.
Like nicely done. That was horrible.
Yeah, this one did not go nearly as smoothly. Again, like the first one, and I think the circumstances surrounding it had a big part in playing. Yeah, it was just weird. I don't need another one of these. I'm good.
I would
Let's
like
not
it
do it again.
with the right people.
I also want a crowd. Like I want a gallery. It seemed a little too.
Oh, it's quiet.
Vacant out there.
Well,
yeah.
What's weird though is like behind them were like 35, 50 golf carts just hailing behind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, who are those people?
Right.
They're not allowed out of their golf carts. No, I would like it again if it was with better people, with a better environment. The
Maybe people that actually have natural chemistry and actually like each other, and I don't know, like just the jawing between like Brady and Rodgers and then DeChambeau. Like who decided to get Brooks in there if you're gonna get a golfer, like
or
get somebody who can like actually pitch the shit back and forth and
put them both in.
Yeah, sure. I mean, golf will never do that, and golf will never do that. The PGA
They
does not want that happening, even though it would be for the
betterment
of the sport.
Golf.
Right. It would be.
It would be absolutely perfect to have those two just bad mouthing each other around the course. But golf is too prissy, and that's the way it goes. That is the way it goes. Yeah. So eventually things will be better. Hopefully, if golf actually figures out how to do things the right way and actually enjoy life. Until then, we will continue to get poor the matches. That's how it goes. But the other things that are also poor in this world, All-Star games and the selections that come behind them. In general, I hate fan-selected All-Star games.
Oh, yeah.
They just pick the wrong people. It's a popularity contest.
Thanks for boiling that down. Yeah.
Like Mike Trout got picked, and he's played,
He hasn't played in like
games?
2 months.
Like he shouldn't be on there. It's just not the way it's supposed to go, and yet here he is on the All-Star team. A guy like J.P. Crawford got snubbed. We'll talk about that in a sec. But if we're looking here at Mike's granted the catching situation in the American League is awful.
When I saw that Mike Zunino was a reserve, I was like, what is going on in the world?
What is wrong with baseball for that to happen? Yeah, Mike Zunino is currently a backup in the All-Star game, batting under 200 for the season. So that's really awesome to see.
He's never batted over 100 or 200.
That is very true. Nelson Cruz made it again, which is cool to see. Yusei Kikuchi made it for the Mariners, probably deserved.
After he got smoked last night?
After he had a horrible game last night. But overall, he's had a very good year coming over from Japan a few seasons ago. Some of the other big names, if we're just looking here. Vlad Guerrero Jr. made it. He's absolutely raking. He's not even 22 yet. And so he's hit more home runs before his 22nd birthday, I think is what it is, than Johnny Bench. Not bad company to be involved in. Johnny Bench, if I remember, was a decent ball player. Not amazing, but
you were making a joke.
No, he's very good. Best catcher of all time, but it's fine. No big deal. And Aaron Judge made it, but it's like, see, that shouldn't happen. Like Aaron Judge isn't having that special of a season, but he's considered an all-star, and there's guys who are in the reserves who should have made it there in the American League. On the National League side, Buster Posey made it, which is really cool to see considering
I can't believe he's still.
Well, he's having a really good year after having a few pretty down seasons, and yeah, he's really recovered. Both he and Brandon Crawford. The people who helped win their World Series, a couple World Series titles actually. They're both having very good years. But essentially, you go through this list. There's definitely some snubs. You want to know the one I want to talk about most?
Nope.
I'm going to tell you.
No idea.
J.P. Crawford, Mariners shortstop.
Whoa.
Should be in it.
Right.
Not even just as a Mariners fan, just in general.
Here's the deal. Who does he replace? I have no problem if you want to do the snub game with All-Star games, but the other shoe that must fall is that you have to choose who they would replace.
Bo Bichette.
Okay.
Definitely.
Fair.
He's a better hitter. He's a better defensive player. He's streaking at the right time.
Been kind of clutch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I J.P. Crawford has carried this team so far this season. Like, he's been their best player. He's, I think, 9th in WAR in baseball, which is wins above replacement, like the best, most efficient way to, really calculate how good a player is. And he's 9th in baseball. First among AL shortstops, and it's crazy. It's crazy to me that he didn't make it. But in general, my whole problem with All-Star games is there has to be better ways for people to get voted in, because nobody cares about All-Stars. It's always about the awards after the season, about the All-Pros. How do we fix this? How do you keep the fans involved without letting the idiots of America vote the wrong person in, which happens a lot?
Boy, that is something that I'm not prepared to tackle.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you could do it. I mean, you could attempt to do it the way that the NBA does it, where it's like it's percentages. Like a third of the voting is fan, a third of the voting is coaches or players, and then a third is like, the press.
Right.
You could do it that way, but then you still have people, like in basketball's case, like Taco Fall or dead Kobe Bryant, getting votes and stuff like that.
Right.
So I don't know that there's really a way to do away with the absurdity of involving fans and just knowing what's going to come with that. Regardless at what capacity the fans are involved, like it's still going to be a thing. I don't know, and I don't really care because All-Star games generally suck.
What they need to do is bring back skill games in every sport.
Yeah.
In every sport. Baseball,
it's like Madden, bring back mini games.
What I want to see, right? Like really though, like in baseball, find a way to bring back some sort of skill-based game.
Yeah.
Even if it's fun and ridiculous and wonky. Like I want to see a guy run out with a pie and try and catch a fly ball.
Sure.
That sounds fun. They do it at, they make fans do it.
Why don't you guys race around the diamond or race around like
let's
the
do
perimeter of the ballpark
let's do
or
a
something.
Race. Like let's do just the most like basic fundamental. Like let's smoke. Let's have the best infield coach smoke 10 ground balls to a guy at the position.
Totally. Basically, just run a little league practice for all these pros.
I watch it. I watch it all day long.
It'd be a lot more entertaining. Yeah.
And make them wear a different-handed glove, like field ground balls with your right hand and throw with your left. Like just the most ridiculous. Make them look embarrassing. Like I think that'd be fun. But as me being so supportive of our beautiful representative republic that we have here in the United States, we are literally voting for people to represent our teams, our whatever, in these teams. And I would love for it to stay that way, but at the same time, there's a lot of people out there who just don't know what they're voting for.
It's true.
It is very true. One guy that they did get completely right was Shohei Ohtani, who's absolutely, on a different planet at the moment. We've never seen or haven't seen a guy like this since Babe Ruth.
Yep.
And there's people, my problem with this argument, there's a lot of people out there who are saying that he's even better than Babe Ruth. And it's like, hold on a second. He's been doing this for a year.
Yeah.
Like he hasn't really pitched. He's been a above average hitter. This is the first year he's actually put it all together and become an absolute superstar. But it goes back to this very fundamental argument. Why or when do we put players on this pedestal above this player who has done it for his entire career, and this guy's done it for a year? When does that argument actually hold weight? It doesn't hold weight now, unfortunately. He's not better than Babe Ruth.
Yeah, no, I don't really think there's much of an argument.
Well, what's crazy is there's a lot of people saying, there's people in the media even saying that. I know why they're saying it. It's the media, and they always like to do stuff like that.
Also, they're probably conflating, better as in present body of work with, the potential or like projecting Ohtani's career if he were to do this for another, 7 to 9 years.
Right.
Or something like that.
MLB.com headline, Shohei Ohtani might just be a real-life superhero.
Dude is massive.
He is massive, and
That
especially
is
honestly
a
for
juggernaut of a human.
for a Japanese baseball player.
Right.
I mean, nobody's comparable to his size. He's 6'4", 210. For comparison, Ichiro was 5'11", and they don't have his weight. Thanks.
But he was a slider guy for sure.
Right. No, for sure. Definitely. 5'11", 175. So he's multiple inches shorter and 45 pounds lighter. Like 35 pounds lighter. Ohtani he's big for an American baseball player. Like he's a very solid looking American baseball players look like, but from Japan, it's actually incredible what he's been able to do. Well, because they play such a different ball game over there too. Like they don't expect their guys to hit bombs 32 times in the first 80 games of a season, which is also super impressive. The fact that he leads the league in home runs at this point in the season, and he also just passed Hideki Matsui's record for most home runs in a single season by a Japanese player, and we're not even to the halfway point yet.
Man, that's when the Yankees were actually kind of likable. Not that statement is ever really fully valid, but you know what I mean. More so than Jorge Posada and Robinson Cano and Jeter
and everything.
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Yep.
So Ohtani is the best thing that baseball has going for it.
Right now.
I mean, I don't really. Yeah, exactly. However, with that being said, I also think that it's really depressing because nobody cares about baseball still, even though they have this miraculous player that is, defined
potentially once in a lifetime.
Yeah, exactly. That is, being likened to Babe Ruth for valid reasons. Mm-hmm. Again, the longevity, not part of the conversation right now, but what he's able to do on the mound as well as in the batter's box. And I think it's interesting too that he's on the same team with who's been considered the best five, tool guy for the past 7 or 8 years now,
potentially.
And nobody. He is box office. He's the best box office that baseball has, and it still is not enough to move the needle. And I think that's really telling of how poor of a position that the MLB finds themselves in 2021.
Well, they just don't know what they're doing. Their marketing sucks.
That's part of it.
They have no idea what to do with a superstar. They've had superstars in this game for decades, and yet they do a horrible job at putting these guys out there. And now, it's a fine line because you either have MLB or there's NBA, and they're completely different sides of the spectrum. If you can find that middle ground, you're perfect. And that's actually what the NFL has done.
Yep.
Honestly, because the NFL is not in a position quite yet. There's definitely some tilting more toward the players the players taking control of their own likeness. But what we're seeing here in baseball is this inability or unwillingness for the league to let their players have fun. Mm-hmm. And it's people talk about the NFL being the no fun league when in fact it's actually MLB who's the no fun league. And it's not even so much the rules. I don't care about the rules. Baseball, the NFL, the NBA hasn't really changed the rules all that much. If anything, the NFL's gotten worse in that regard, and their numbers are continuing to go up, or at least staying consistently high. And yet the MLB is losing viewers, is having problems keeping the younger generation interested. Part of the problem has to do with there's just some teams out there that aren't fun. Like the Mariners, for how unwatchable they can sometimes be, usually have some pretty good characters on the team, and their stadium experience is one of a kind. Like you have a really good time when you go see a game there, even if the Mariners get absolutely torched. And there's a lot of ballparks and teams out there that just, to me at least, are like, I don't really see any fun happening. Like the Yankees don't have fun. Like they're in a playoff position. They're in a wild card spot, or they're right on a wild card, and everybody's mad. And it's like, just enjoy it that they're at least competing. They're competitive.
I think in that case, it's the expectations that are attached
for
New York. And
definitely expectations. But the guys on the team though, like even though they're not having fun doing it, the Mariners,
because the Mariners are. You can see that there's some sort of camaraderie or chemistry amongst the locker room and all the guys. On the team. No, I understand what you're saying, but I just kind of wanted to bring that up and kind of explore the fact that like Ohtani should be, the knight in shining armor coming to the rescue of the MLB, and ultimately it's not enough. And I think that's just a testament to how big of a problem the MLB finds themselves facing. Yeah.
Right. No, I agree as well. bring back skill games of some sort, especially in baseball.
And just let everybody cheat. Let's stick the balls. Let's stick the bats. Let's put rubber balls in the bats.
Garrett Cole's been having a lot of issues since that whole thing came down. Over his last few starts, he's had terrible performances. So that's actually pretty funny. I partially agree, but we've talked about that a few different times. But I also would think it would be very interesting to watch everybody just jacked up on steroids and throwing balls that can go 150 miles an hour.
Let's have fun.
Make baseball fun again. Quick little Euro update since we're heading into the finals on Sunday. You're going to watch? You busy Sunday?
I do actually think I'm going to watch. I'm stoked because I don't have to work on Sunday, and I'll be able to watch that as well as NBA Finals Game 3.
Right, and it'll be...
Yeah, no, I'm very much looking forward to Sunday.
Yeah, so that game will be at noon Pacific time. It'll be England versus the Italians on ESPN at noon on Sunday. NBA Finals game would be probably, 5 o'clock that
It's
day?
5, yeah.
5 o'clock on Sunday. So, but they play tonight?
They play tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific time.
All right, so we'll get to that in a second. But the Euros were, again, more or less fun. A little bit less fun this round than it was in the quarters. Italy and Spain went back and forth, punch for punch, ended up going to added time. Italy won 4-2 in PKs. Then England and Denmark came on. Fun throughout most of the game. Cool to see Denmark really put on a performance after losing one of their best players in Christian Eriksen earlier on in the tournament. Yet it was marred by a very interesting finish, which included a potential dive by Man City's Raheem Sterling, and then also included a most likely England fan shining a laser pointer at Schmeichel, Denmark's goalie, on that PK by Harry Kane that he did, in fact, save and then gave up the rebound, and then England won.
Whatever it takes.
I'd be mad if I was Denmark.
Oh, yeah, no, I'd be pissed.
That PK was awfully soft. Again, I don't want to talk bad about one of my players that I root for, but he dove, and it's fine.
Yeah,
It's fine to the point that it's soccer and it happens all the time. But that was bad, and it was unfortunate that the referee called it. In my opinion, referees should be more hesitant in calling PKs and let the VAR, video assistant referee, correct it. Because in my mind, VAR is supposed to correct an egregious missed call. Mm-hmm. I'd rather a missed call give a PK than take one away, because it's much easier to correct a call like that than it is to call it back. So right. I think referees should be, cause same with offsides. Like the referees are told don't call offsides unless you know for 100% fact that was offsides. Same thing with penalty kicks, because I think in my eyes it ruined the ending of a game that England definitely was supposed to win and should have won during the game. But it's unfortunate that it ended that way, because then Denmark's all, and then all of Europe is just about ready to start.
Yeah, it's hard to feel good about it, knowing that you have a level of guilt, I would assume.
Right.
Maybe just for one split second, and then you're on to drinking, partying, boozing it up, and celebrating.
Heading to the pub.
Totally. But I don't know. As a
neutral,
trying to be like an honest person and a person of integrity. Like, I even know in spike ball, when we're like, hey, we're gonna redo that, call an redo, call an obstruction.
Yeah, you rimmed it or whatever.
We're kind of laxing the rules here a little bit. We're kind of taking advantage and bending things. I'm like,
right.
I'll get the point, but I don't feel great about it.
I don't feel great. Thanks for letting me have that, but. Right, exactly.
But it's okay. I think that England and Italy on paper looks really good.
That's a fun matchup.
It's two pretty compelling countries, and this is England's first final appearance in like a major tournament since like 1966, or something like that, which was super surprising, actually.
Right. Well, you wouldn't think that for how successful both the Premier League,
exactly,
which it doesn't just include English players, but has a lot of English players. But just the success English players have domestically. You would think that would translate more internationally, but they've had all sorts of problems over the years. I don't know why they have so many problems, but not great for them over the years. But should be a very good matchup. You have the Italians, who haven't lost a match in like 25 games or something, which is pushing the world record. So that's pretty interesting to watch. You have like you mentioned, England, who hasn't done anything in 60+ years. That should also be entertaining. And both sides have a lot of kids, but then a lot of veterans. Italy. With Chiellini and their other center back pairing that I'm not going to remember right now.
Is it with a B?
Yeah, Leonardo Bonucci.
You're welcome.
Leonardo Bonucci and Chiellini, the Italian center back pairing, who have been there, done that for a long time. And then obviously England, who has a lot of young kids, including Raheem Sterling. and John Stones and Kyle Walker and Phil Foden. You know, the Man City players are the biggest reason why they're doing so well.
Jesus.
Again, that is on Sunday at noon. Game 3 of the NBA Finals will be that day. But Game 2 happens tonight. Game 1 happened 2 days ago. Suns took a 1-0 lead, beating the Bucks 118 to 105. I wasn't able to watch that. I was doing something that night, but it did appear that Phoenix was in control the entire game.
Yeah, the Bucks made a push midway through the fourth quarter, and they actually cut it to 7. And once they got to that point, they started taking some awful shots, and they had to play Bryn Forbes, and he was doing things that he shouldn't be doing within his role on the team in that rotation. Suns in 4. Not actually, though. I think it's probably going to be I think it's probably going to at least go 6. I would be surprised if Milwaukee was not able to grab 2 of these games, especially once the series pivots and goes back to Milwaukee.
Giannis is healthy enough.
So I do think, from what I understand, I think the more he's able to play on the knee, I actually think his knee, there was a lot of testing and feeling out from him in this game, which, I mean, is to be expected. I mean, they call him the Greek freak, but he is a physical specimen. The fact that he intensely hyperextended his knee, whatever it was, just like a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, and he was able to come out and play in Game 1 is extremely impressive. But I think that the biggest problem for the Bucks in Game 1 was their defense. And they were looking sluggish. Yeah. They didn't look like they were, really up to the test defensively, and Phoenix was just having their way with them and getting whatever they wanted and getting it pretty easily. And so the whole game, the Bucks spent taking the ball out from under the basket. So the Bucks are most potent when they are in transition, when they're able to get stops on the defensive end, get the ball in Giannis's hands, and let him take 3 or 4 strides down the court and just finish at the rim. And that's really when they're at their best. And they weren't able to get into any sort of rhythm or flow like that in this game. So I think really going into Game 2 and going throughout the rest of the series, as long as they're able to survive, it really starts on the defensive end and being able to get stops to start generating that offense. Because as we know, Budenholzer and Giannis in particular have been much maligned because of their anemic half-court sets.
Yep.
And when they get into those possessions and how they materialize and how ineffective they ultimately are. So I think that's the biggest thing. Chris Paul came out. He had a crazy game, 12 of 19 from the field, 4 of 7 from 3. Really had, his defining moment for his first NBA Finals game. It was really cool to see. Devin Booker got to the line a lot. He didn't have an efficient game shooting. He really hasn't since the first game of the Western Conference Finals against the Clippers. So we'll see if Chris is able to score, at that clip that he did in Game 1. Also, the refs. I mean, I understand that the game was in Phoenix, but Phoenix got every call, and Milwaukee got none of them. Chris Middleton was driving to the basket, and he did it several times. He didn't get a single call once. They were calling a lot of fouls on jump shots, which I guess is the NBA today. But it's there's a lot of contact when these guys are going to the rim, and it was seldom called. And then there's phantom contact on a pull-up jumper, and it gets called. So, again, state of the NBA, but
it's still frustrating.
I think this is actually going to be a good series.
I think it'll be a decent series.
I think the Bucks have a lot more that they can play around with and figure out. They have better basketball in them to play, and I think this will go the distance. That being at least 6. I don't think this will be anything shorter than a 6-game series.
I think 6 is probably right. I think 6 is right in that sweet spot. The Suns match up pretty well with the Bucks. Ayton and Crowder can do decently against Giannis. At least, cause a little bit of problems with them.
They played Brook Lopez off the floor. Brook did not have a good game at all.
Right.
And Drew Holiday shot
not
terribly.
Yeah, not good. So, I mean, there's definitely, like you said, there's definitely room for improvement on the Bucks. There's room of improvement, though. Room for improvement for Devin Booker. Chris Paul is on a mission, though. I mean, he put up 32 points, 9 assists. He even grabbed a couple rebounds in 37 minutes. I mean, he's still, for his age, to be able to do that is very impressive. With that amount of floor time and still being able to really lead this Suns team that's decently young outside of himself. Jay Crowder's the next oldest guy.
Yeah, and aside for the two of them, very young.
It's very young, and Crowder only had 1 point. He did grab,
but he was like a plus 17 or 18. No, he played a good game. He hasn't been shooting really well basically all postseason. But no, the impact that he has on a game is more than what the box score would indicate.
What's interesting too is I saw an article this morning saying that everybody wants Jake Crowder, yet nobody knows why. And it's because of that. Like, his box score doesn't look that impressive at all, but he really does put together solid games, on a very consistent basis. But yeah, I think this series will go 6 as well. I think Booker will have probably a 40-point game in there.
I hope so. That would be really cool for him. Yeah, I'd like to see that.
It should happen. I don't think really anybody matches up great with him on the Bucks. I mean, maybe Holiday. I mean, I don't think who picked him up.
It wasn't, or no, it was Holiday in Game 1. But I think what the Bucks need to do actually is put Holiday on Chris Paul, because everything that the Suns do starts and stops with Chris Paul. So I think you got to put Drew on CP going forward, or at least try it and see, if Booker's able to take advantage of that. But yeah, man,
it'll be a fun series. It'll be not as fun of a series as it could have been with a couple different teams. I think the Suns deserve to be there.
They do, yeah. And everybody's gonna poke holes in their run through the Western Conference. But I mean. That is sports, and you play who's in front of you. And honestly, if everybody was at full health, who's to say that the Suns wouldn't have made it anyway?
Right.
It certainly would have been tougher.
Booker was hobbled with his face.
Exactly. Chris Paul had the shoulder thing in the first series against the Lakers that he had to work and play through. Also, he injured his hand or his wrist seemingly in Game 1. So, I mean, they've been battling through their own stuff too. It just hasn't been,
and I like
trajectory altering for them.
I also like how Chris Paul came out. He was asked about the injuries in the playoffs, and he's like, well, he's like the liaison or whatever.
He took a shot at LeBron without taking a shot. It was beautiful.
And it was
true. Very.
I mean, they have the union for a reason. They all collectively bargain. They all had discussions before the season, and the representatives agreed to it. And if you didn't agree with it at the time, he could have said something then, because
that's what he said. He said, I don't want to hear anything about it now, because we all had our moment and our opportunity to voice our hesitations and our reservations, and nobody did. So here we are.
So moving on to a jabroni with that tie into LeBron, actually.
Beautiful.
Unfortunately, it's not 10 years ago, but it's 11 years ago today. LeBron James had his announcement, which we'll play that first real quick here to kind of refresh your memories.
The answer to the question everybody wants to know. LeBron, what's your decision?
In this fall, man, this is very tough. In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
Miami Heat. That was the conclusion you woke up with this morning.
That was the conclusion I woke up with this morning.
Me too.
So the decision there was obviously LeBron saying he would be leaving the Cleveland Cavaliers to go play for the Miami Heat with his big three down there, Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. But this brings up, he's a jabroni for that moment, actually. I hated that. I still hate that. I hate it today whenever people do garbage things like that.
It was awful. Have you watched the documentary about it?
No.
Oh, so Jim Gray, the guy who conducted the interview, was basically at every commercial break, Maverick Carter, who's, LeBron's like childhood best friend, right wing man. He does all the marketing, all the PR, all the business decisions and stuff like that around LeBron in his career. And he was just feeding him these nonsensical questions during the break, just to prolong and extend this just painful viewing experience that really had no value and didn't offer anything. They were just very, like you said, fluff questions. And the whole thing was a joke.
And unfortunately has trickled down now to college athletes announcing which, or high school athletes announcing which college they're going to attend, which is lame. And that's fine, because some Zag players have done it, but it's still lame. Please just be cool and be like, oh, this is where I'm going. Thanks for having me. I'm going to go play basketball now. But that doesn't happen anymore. So essentially, I'm going to tie this into, I'm going to read off some of the most memorable one-liners or quotes in sports history, and you're going to tell me who it was.
Ooh.
All right, this one's easy. I'm just here so I won't get fined.
T-Pain.
Right, exactly.
Marshawn.
This one's also easy. Talking about practice.
AI.
Yep. Okay, these first ones are really easy. I swear it gets more difficult. Okay. Mamba out.
LeBron.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
He probably would say that actually.
Oh my god, I don't even give him that idea because that would be horrible. So he did say that after he put up 50 points, 50 shots, 60 points.
I was gonna say, yeah.
In his final game at Staples, which was really cool to see. This is our effing city.
Oh, that one's generic. Can I get a hint?
Baseball. Boston.
Pedro, Manny, David Ortiz.
Yes, it was Ortiz.
Okay.
After the Boston Marathon bombings.
Yes. Okay.
Walked
I was thinking
field.
post-championship run.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. And yeah, he had this nice big speech, which was really cool, and made Boston feel really empowered. So that was kind of nice.
Okay.
If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good.
Deion Sanders.
If you play good, they pay good. Yep. That is Deion. That is definitely Deion, and that's such an awesome quote. What's crazy, really too, is I don't know where look good, feel good comes from, but it must be that, right? Like, I don't think that was a thing before Deion.
I know that Jerry Rice was super OCD about his uniform and all of the layers underneath, and he'd be like on the sideline, like cutting into his socks or sleeves or something. So, yeah, I don't know if anybody had come out and said anything about it before Deion, but I know that some very particular players, like Jerry Rice, would second that notion.
Right. Let's see here. I didn't even know this was a big quote, but because I can, which is also very generic.
Simone Biles.
It is, because she was asked, when Biles was asked why she continues to do the moves despite not being properly rewarded, she replied, because I can.
Nailed it.
I don't know if that was like that memorable to me. I don't know. But she's really good. But
yeah, no, she's insane.
But I don't know if that's that memorable. Big time players step up in big games.
Your T-ball coach?
I don't know. It was an iconic catchphrase that I eagerly worked into my repertoire and peddled as my own after high school lacrosse championship. But I was this is the writer, I think. But anyway, it was Santana Moss after Miami beat FSU in 2000.
Wow. Okay. That's obscure, to say the least.
Let's see. Oh, so it's actually not him. He used it. Rather, he was championing Rohan Marley.
That would have been my second guess.
I don't know who's that. You know who Rohan?
Absolutely no idea.
Well, we got to figure that out. The real MVP.
KD.
Yeah, after he got his MVP and he was
talking to his mother,
to his mom. Rohan Marley. Oh, that would make sense. Jamaican entrepreneur, the son of Bob Marley.
I actually think that was the last likable KD moment. That was in 2014.
Actual, like severely likable. Like
and now
he's a fun
just
guy.
Yeah, he's just been
kind
a
of
troll for
Unfortunately, because I always did really much, very much like KD. Anything is possible.
KG.
There you go. After what happened?
I think they won the finals in 2008 on their home floor in Game 6 against the Lakers.
Yep, won, and they didn't just
crushed
win.
them.
Yeah, they trounced them 131 to 92.
KG had like nearly 40 points. Yeah, they obliterated them.
Yeah, that was the first.
Phil Jackson was literally like, "Stop trying. Like, we'll come back next year." No, he seriously was. He's like, "Guys, chill." That's
super funny. And last one here. I know every single person asking me a question can't play as well as I can and never will.
Ooh.
This one just happened.
What sport?
Tennis.
Male or female?
Female.
Oh. It wasn't Coco Gauff, was it?
No.
Oh. I don't know. Sloane Stevens?
It was Venus Williams, actually.
Oh.
So they were talking about Naomi Osaka and how she had to withdraw from the tournament, and then she was asked about her own media criticism over her career, and then and this is awesome, she told this to the media, I know every single person asking me a question can't play as well as I can and never will.
Fair.
You just like to see that sometimes, like, you know, interviewing Mark Few, for instance, he'll let you know if you ask a stupid question. Like, he will literally, they'll ask some stupid softball, like, hey, how did so-and-so play so well this game? Well, how did Drew Timme put up 32 points or whatever? And he's like, well, he made
scored
a lot
points.
of buckets.
Yeah.
Like, what do you want me to say? Like, it's not like he did something wild and different.
Yeah.
Sometimes the media can be very idiotic. my jabroni was LeBron. Thanks, LeBron, for letting me take your idiotic self and turn it into a whole segment.
I mean,
appreciated.
It probably will not end. You and I will be 60 on this set, and he'll
on
still be giving us that content.
Number 690.
In a vortex.
Nice. All right, what's your jabroni?
The NBA.
I see a theme here.
Yeah, so we got a little tweet up here that perfectly illustrates my feelings, but this happened last year, I believe, is when they made the change, and obviously they got really experimental. They tried a lot of things in the bubble, given the state that the world was in, and I understand that. But YouTube TV is now the sponsor for the NBA Finals, and whatever their logo, that brand that they put on the floor, they put not in the rafters, but like on the padding, on the scorer's table and stuff like that, everywhere. And man, so. I should have provided an image. My apologies. But the finals always used to be in golden cursive letters. The finals. And it was beautiful. And they had the Larry O'Brien silhouette, at least, if not, the entire image of it in the background behind it. And it used to be on the floors of, whichever team was at home. And it was incredible. It was the finals. You had arrived. You had made it. It is a special occasion. And now they just have this lame, blocky, really uninspiring freaking font that's just stacked on top of each other with the year, flipped on its head and stuck in there. And just in case you didn't know, it's sponsored by YouTube TV. And it's just so underwhelming. And it's so lame because they don't even have it on the floor anymore. Right. They're projecting it. They're putting a graphic on the Phoenix Suns court. Mm-hmm. And guess what? It also glitches out like every 15 seconds. Mm-hmm. I know you say you didn't watch the game, but watch for it.
Well, I think I remember it lapping last year.
It flickers. Yeah. It flickers. And it's so lame. And it really, from the visual and the optics, it takes away and it detracts the gravity and the stakes and the finality of the finals. And I think it's just really disappointing. And I don't understand how they could have come to this conclusion to decide to go this way. And I think it's just unfortunate.
Is this the logo that you're looking for? That's what we're talking about?
But the color isn't always that, but sometimes it's in gold. But yes,
but with that like style of font and everything,
with the trophy right there
and everything. It's superior, and you can't change my mind, and nor should you attempt to because I'm right.
Right, I completely agree. The new logo is horrible. It's blocky. It's clunky. It's boring. It's unimaginative. Somebody who created this thought they were really genius, and the NBA is like, bingo, got our next logo. And they're wrong.
Adam, it's about time you took the reins back of your association because there's just some stuff going on that's not good. So, figure it out.
What's cool, if we're going to look at other sports here, like the NFL has done decent. I don't love the new ones if we're looking at those. But, like, it's just they're fun. Like, they're interesting. They're different. And the NBA Finals comes out with this.
And it's something to look forward to because that – more or less, every like 3 to 4 to 5 years in the NFL, you're going to get a new
kind of style.
Yeah.
Right. And the NBA now has a pretty pathetic logo.
Like it took somebody less than a minute to put that
I could have made that in Microsoft Word with, what do they call it? Word art?
Yeah.
Right?
Isn't that what you're looking for? Word art, exactly. Would be very easy to do with that. I'm pretty sure it's a standard font in it.
Yeah,
it's for sure. Yeah. It definitely is here, and it's pretty bad. Yeah, it is word art right there. That's what we put. That's the kind of lettering we put in our PowerPoints back in elementary. Like, look how awesome my PowerPoint looks. Look at this big, nice word arted title, and then everyone's like, "Whoa, how did you do that?"
And then you make it slide across the screen.
Right, you make it move like slide in and like just stop and skid. Yeah, and you can do crazy things. That's exactly what the NBA used. That's pretty funny actually. Soft on the NBA, definitely. You want to hear a nice Stanley Cup sports fact?
I would.
So the Boston Bruins, who were eliminated in the Stanley Cup final or playoffs, this year, they made it, didn't they?
Semis.
Right.
They got bounced by the Islanders.
Right. They won the title in the 71-72 season. Every single winner is put on the Stanley Cup trophy. Unfortunately for the Boston Bruins, on the 71-72 season, their name is, instead of Boston, it's BQSTQN. So instead of O's, they are Q's for Boston on the trophy. Etched in forever in history, they would be the BQSTQN Bruins.
Talk about quality control.
Talk about awesome quality control. God forbid they replace it. But I guess it's pretty funny.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Actually, that happened. And I looked down at my keyboard when I found that out. I'm like, those things aren't anywhere close. And I know you don't I guess you don't, type in the engraver. Maybe you do. I don't know how engravers work.
I don't either.
They have to be computerized. Maybe not.
If it was in 72,
it has to be by hand, I would think, right?
Yeah, I think.
I mean, I don't know, but I wasn't alive then yet. So yeah, there you go.
Okay, thank you for that.
You are welcome. What is your closing time?
Rachel Nichols.
Yes.
Murked. I just kind of think it's ironic because Rachel Nichols, I liked her for a long time when she was a sideline reporter. I thought she was awesome.
NFL, I loved her on the NFL.
Totally,
podcast.
and I honestly forgot that she was even a part of NFL because it was so long ago. And I like the jump for the first year or two, but she kind of started getting high and mighty, and she really started feeling herself, and I just got over it. And now she is, in a miniature fashion, being canceled and demoted within the ranks of ESPN because of an audio clip from a year ago that has surfaced about her airing some grievances about her colleague, Maria Taylor, and all of the different assignments that were being given to Maria Taylor, some of which were Rachel's assignments and written in her contract that she were to work them and be a part of them.
Right.
And so she doesn't say anything malicious in the audio clip, and she even, acknowledges she wishes Maria Taylor all the luck and success in the world. But her frustration was essentially, paraphrasing here, that she, Rachel Nichols herself, had been punished because ESPN and their historically bad history with casting diversity or hiring, people in diverse backgrounds and ethnicities and all of that was basically hurting her career and taking away from her when it's their own problem and their own thing to deal with. And she was basically, getting burned by it. And so that is ultimately the sentiment that she was trying to get across. And now she has been taken off the sidelines of the NBA Finals, and she's just going to be hosting the jump. And they've,
not even this week. They canceled it for this week.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And now they've inserted Malika Andrews, and Maria Taylor, is hosting the pregame and halftime report with their countdown crew. And I think it's ironic. I think it's stupid, the reason that this is happening to her, but I do think it's just kind of,
typical ESPN.
Typical ESPN, yes, for sure. And it's just a joke.
My takeaway from this entire thing is I found out that Maria Taylor was asking for a new contract from ESPN. They offered her $5 million a year, and she said no.
Nice.
You want to know why?
Why?
She wants Stephen A. Smith money, $8 million a year. And it's like, I don't care how good you are, but you are an analyst, sideline reporter, and a host of a show. You're not the personalities on these shows. Stephen A. Smith is I think is the highest paid.
Yeah, he's the top talent.
Which, first off, we can talk about that.
No,
let's
not. Let's not.
But the fact that she was asking that kind of money is asinine. Like, what are you trying to accomplish here? You're not going to get Stephen A. Smith money. I didn't even know who you were. I know who Malika Andrews is before I know who you are.
Also, their countdown crew, the one that she's the host of, is really bad.
Who's on the countdown right now?
Jay Williams, Jalen Rose, and Woj. And
that's terrible.
It's really bad.
Woj is the most awkward guy to have on TV. If I was ESPN,
he really is. Obviously, he's incredible at his job, but he has a very difficult time talking when he's in front of a camera.
He is not Schefter at all.
Anyway, the whole thing is just ridiculous. Like you said, it's very ESPN, and it's just a joke. It's sad. They're just treading water at this point. I mean, they're basically drowning.
Oh, they for sure are. That's why they're cutting all their top personality, because they have people like...
Again, we need to remember, maybe next episode, let's do our power rankings, top 5 current ESPN anchors. Anchors. Yeah, we could... Yeah, we'll figure it out.
But that definitely should happen here pretty soon. My closing time here real quick. Let's look at Chris Carson just absolutely doing the most ridiculously difficult-looking exercises and strength training.
Sick.
Yeah, that looks tough.
The ones where they stick the bands around the racks and do push-ups against the bands.
Right.
No, this guy's
Like it's the whole balancing thing there too.
I just need him to do more Pilates and yoga.
Right.
Like, he's an insane athlete.
There's
no question about it.
That is a creature from another planet.
God.
I mean, again, people do this, but he's a running back.
Yeah. Well, and he's as fast and as explosive
Right.
and as agile as he is, and
Still able to do that.
pushing weight.
That's there's not a chance that he eats McMuffins for breakfast. Like, there's just not enough protein in there for him.
I bet he does.
What's your go-to breakfast item at McDonald's?
Sausage egg.
That's the only right answer. McGriddles are horrible.
I haven't had one. I just got laughed off stage because I told my friends that I had never had one. They were like, "Hey, figure your life out."
I've never had one either. Do you want to know why? I don't like sweet and salty things. I don't want to combine maple, essentially pancakes, with my sausage and eggs.
You got to go for their whatever their chicken thing is in the breakfast. It's surprisingly good.
Chicken is really like being boosted right now.
Yeah.
Like, everybody is trying to compete with a chicken sandwich.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh,
It's kind of
Chick-fil-A. That could be a good dinner tonight.
There you go.
I might get some Chick-fil-A tonight.
All right, do it. The only time I want Chick-fil-A is on Sunday.
I know, right?
We never think about Chick-fil-A until Sunday.
I literally just had this conversation last weekend. We're like, what are we going to do for dinner tonight? I was up at Loon, actually.
dumb.
And I'm like, I'm going to grab Chick-fil-A on the way. And I'm like, it's Sunday. Come on.
It's the only
God,
day.
it's God's day, and I understand that, but I should be able to have a chicken sandwich from Chick-fil-A if I want it.
God
wills me to have a chicken sandwich whenever I want it. United States is backed by God, and God wants the United States to have their Chick-fil-A on Sunday. Make it happen.
That's a show.
That's how we went from Chris Carson to it's God's country.
Sure is.
And Chick-fil-A runs this country, let's be honest with ourselves. They actually did, I just saw today, they were voted again for the 7th year straight the top fast food chain in America.
Hot take: Chick-fil-A's overrated.
Ooh. I've never had it, so I can't comment or weigh
actually?
in. Yeah.
All right, well, you should probably want Chick-fil-A other than a Sunday next time.
Yeah.
It is pretty far away from your traveling, but
Thanks.
yeah. Well, that hot take's wrong, Sam. Thanks for playing. Please don't hop on the mic ever again.
We'll see.
All right. Well, next week will be July 15th. That's
Math.
right. I don't know. Oh, nice, Sam. You put July 18th.
I know. I saw it
That's
too
what
late.
confused
It'll
me
be
here.
fixed.
That's what confused me. That's why I was like 15.
You guys get paid way too much.
Yeah. How does this work? How does this work? That's all right. We'll be back here July 15th,
You know
3
you
days
love us.
before this show, I guess. It's next week. NBA Finals will be potentially over.
Potentially, yeah.
What else? The Euros will be done.
Won't be.
All sorts of different fun stuff will be going on. So we'll have that next week. And anything going on this weekend?
I'm going golfing at Indian Canyon with a friend that I rarely get to see because he lives in Seattle and is dedicated to the grind. So,
Oh, like work?
yeah, going to get a little banged up on the course and,
forget
probably
your
watch the Poirier and McGregor fight. And
Oh,
then
right. I should figure out what to do that
hit
night.
the town.
All right. Yeah, I should probably watch that fight. I'm not paying money for it, though.
Yeah, no, absolutely not.
I am gonna
I'm done with
torrent
that shit.
the hell out of
ESPN
that.
Plus can get bent.
Yeah, not. I pay for ESPN Plus. I'm not paying for it again to watch a pay-per-view fight.
Can we talk about how much darker my arm looks than my face?
That's the shadow.
Is it?
Yeah,
Oh, it sure is,
Yeah.
man.
you're being shadowed. A little
Crazy
bit.
how light works, huh?
It really is, yeah. Ask Halo Infinite.
Wow,
That's
man,
for you,
nice.
Vinny.
That was for Vinny. Hopefully you're enjoying your vacation. We'll see you next week with both producers on the set.
Yep.
For show number 51, which will be a very easy number.
That
to come
one's
up
good,
With
yeah,
a
that one's
couple
good.
good players there. So have a nice weekend. We'll catch you here July 15th, same time, same set. Have a nice week.
The world has changed a lot in 50 years, and Kimley Haygood has changed with it. We still provide our customers with the highest level of service, whether it's financing, construction management, property management and maintenance, leasing, or sales. Our team is here to help you make the best decisions with your real estate.
Thanks for watching The Locker Room on Spokane Talks. Check us out on Facebook as well as our other platforms. We want to hear from you. Join the conversation by emailing us at info@SpokaneTalksOnline.com. And for more sports news, opinions, and content, follow Justin and me on Twitter.